How he's able to capture a portrait of someone that's a painting, but it looks like a photo, and how that's evolved. It's just amazing to see.
And we created a gallery in Miami, which was 6 years ago. Initially bringing the group of artists which I was primarily representing in Europe and wanting to connect with local artists or mix my European born and based artists with artists from the local scene. The name of Cesar appeared quite quickly.
They wanted you to follow the footsteps of being a contemporary artist. They wanted you to kind of fall into that mold of what being an artist meant today. And that was not my nature. I loved classical painting, I loved portraiture, and every time I tried, they try to kill my passion by saying, that has been done, there's no need for that, and you have to be more expressive, be more, don't listen to about what people say, if they like it or not. It shouldn't be about that, it should be about self-expression. And I said, whoa, I want to express myself like this, and I shouldn't care about what you say either. I am Cesar Santos. I am 34 years old, and I am an artist, professional painter. I was born in Cuba, in Santa Clara, and at that time I loved to draw always. Since I was a little kid, I was involved in school activities that had to do with painting, murals, and stuff like that artistically. And my uncle was a prominent artist in Cuba, Raúl Santos. He's been involved in, curating museum shows and actually exhibiting around the world in important art museums. And he saw that I liked to draw, so he encouraged me to keep drawing. My father, on the other hand, wanted me to have a better balanced life, more balanced life, and he put me into boxing. He thought that if I only dedicated myself to kind of like isolate in the room and draw every time I had a problem or an issue outside, because in Cuba you have to live with the worst in society as well as the best. You cannot select a group and be in that. Like, that's what communism does to you. You have to be out there and kind of survive for yourself. It's like a jungle. So my father thought that it would be better if he would put me into boxing so that I can have more confidence and have like another type of a different life than just being one side, And my mom was just working at home, taking care of me and my sister and the house. And she always offered a lot of love. I never had any, I don't remember even being like mistreated or spanked or anything by either one of them. So it was great. When I was born in the 80s, my grandma left escaping a boat and she became a citizen. And then when she claimed us, it took us like 4 years, but finally, when I was 12, we were able to immigrate to Miami. I went to Palm Springs Middle School in Hialeah. And one of the teachers there changed my life, I think, because she saw my passion for painting. And she said, listen, you're about to go to high school soon. I don't want you to lose this passion, and public high school will probably do it for you. You should apply to one of the top schools in America for arts so that you can evolve in what you love to do. And I said, what is that? And then they sent me to apply to 2 schools, New World School of the Arts High School and Dash Design and Architecture Senior High. And I was rejected at the New World School of the Arts, but I was able to pass the test to go into Dash. I studied architecture, design, painting, and as soon as I finished, I had a portfolio strong enough to be able to get a full scholarship at the New World School of the Arts. So I got accepted there, which they rejected me for high school, but I went again and they got me. So I studied 4 more years. But after I saw the manipulation of the established art schools, they wanted you to follow the footsteps of being a contemporary artist. They wanted you to kind of fall into that mold of what being an artist meant today. And that was not my nature. I loved classical painting. I loved portraiture. And every time I tried, they try to kill my passion by saying, that has been done, there's no need for that. And you have to be more expressive, be more, don't listen to about what people say, if they like it or not. It shouldn't be about that. It should be about self-expression. And I said, whoa, I want to express myself like this, and I shouldn't care about what you say either. Because you know, if you're giving me that advice, I can take it against you too. So then I decided to just drop off. I left college like 2 classes before getting my bachelor's degree. I still had to finish New World until June. I had that whole term ahead of me. And I said, I'm not gonna risk this. I took this opportunity, I'm gonna go. So I said, listen, I'm moving to Italy to finish this. And I'm like, well. So I just surprisingly left.
I am Matthew Manness. I'm 30 years old and I'm a professional opera singer. I met Cesar through a mutual friend. He also knew my wife from his first gallery, Zarnuda's gallery, where she worked. We relate so much in the classical world and being young people in this what seems to be like ancient kind of art world. It's not ancient, but you know, in today's pop culture, you know, the first thing that people aren't listening to is not opera, and I think a lot of it goes with the same with art. I mean, especially here in Miami, you see you know, a lot of graffiti and that kind of street art that's beautiful and has its own weight and worth. But we've been able, as friends, to kind of talk about our stories to making it in the art world and making classical art relevant in today's time.
The Angel Academy, it's a private academy founded by Michael John Angel, an English painter, and he worked with one of the last masters in Florence in murals and churches and stuff, so he knew what the whole trade was, and I was able to learn it from him personally. Because of my background and all the studies in contemporary art, my brain was a little bit more open to see both worlds, because a lot of the students there were very traditional, very anti-contemporary art, and they lost a lot because they were just focused in that little classical world. So I finished the school in record amount of time. Nobody has ever finished the academy as fast as I did. I did a 4-year program in a year and a half. I worked every night, every weekend. My wife, I met the first week of being there, and she's a witness because I said, listen, I came here for this, and you wanna be with me, but we're gonna do this together. As soon as I got back to Miami, a gallery in Coral Gables, Zarnuda, they only represent Cuban artists, so I had that to my advantage because I was Cuban. But everybody told me, no, that's too high of a level for you out of school. Maybe if I went to the lowest of the galleries, maybe I had a better percentage of getting into it because they're a little bit more desperate for good quality work. But I was a little bit too self-confident, and I said, listen, I know the value of my art, I'm gonna go shoot at the top of what I can do. And immediately worked. All my friends were like, oh man, I thought that wouldn't work because it breaks all the standards. You know, you're supposed to have all these presentation. No, I just took the painting person like that. I said, listen man, I painted this, you wanna represent me? And they're like, what? Come tomorrow. So then that's the way it started. It was very casual, that's the way it should be done. Why should you spend all this money preparing this beautiful portfolio if your art doesn't speak to them or doesn't represent, you know, what you're claiming? I always wanted to have a gallery in the middle of Wynwood, but I was too classical to be accepted there, so it took me a while.
And we created a gallery in Miami, which was 6 years ago, initially bringing the group of artists which I was primarily representing in Europe and wanting to connect with local artists or mix my European born and based artists with artists from the local scene. The name of Cesar appeared quite quickly.
Now my gallery, Waltman Ortega, represents me in Miami, in Paris, in London, and they also go to all the art fairs, important art fairs.
So Art Miami, you have extremely serious, strong work from the modern masters, post-war era, the pop era, Warhol, Lichtenstein, de Kooning, Picasso, Chagall. You will find them all here. Multi-million-dollar pieces. But you also have galleries that represent not only those works, but more of career artists that are living today and have a tremendous following and are in major museums and estates and are being really acquired in a real-time fashion.
In the art fairs of today, you have to submit an application 8 to 10 months before the event. So if the project is accepted, then you have plenty of time, almost plenty of time with artists to think of what we want to do. The technical level, almost to the perfection, which he is able to take the idea of drawing to, is absolutely superb. You don't see it, you don't have 10 similar works in the fair. You may have works which are, of course, good and maybe better for other reasons, but in terms of drawing, this is an absolutely gorgeous work. And at the same time, he shows in this work, if you look at different areas of the drawing, that he is capable of taking you very far in the idea of illusion with reality, with a photorealistic reality, and in other parts of the work, he's more sketchy, more childish in the way he created the work, and he likes to combine all these different sources into one single work.
He's one of the best young portrait artists in the world. I mean, I've just seen over the years, I've even seen him grow. I mean, I'm not an expert with art, but in terms of how he's able to capture a portrait of someone that's a painting, but it looks like a photo, and how that's evolved, it's just amazing to see.
The struggle mainly with contemporary art is that a lot of that is based on the dark side of humanity and the negative side. And it has been changing a little bit towards more colorful, more hopefulness. And my art from the beginning was very positive. I wanted to show beauty. I wanted to delight, like I wanted to bring something positive to the viewer instead of these dark things that we always saw in galleries where people were like, I don't understand this is crazy. So in a way, I had to kind of convince the contemporary art world that what I was doing is valuable too, because I'm a contemporary guy. Like, I am a new kind of artist from this generation. Maybe if I was 100 years old, I understand them telling me that I'm old, but I'm young and I'm bringing this new way of painting, because even though it's based on the principle of classical painting, I'm still applying the technology that made everything from today. So I always felt that I had that value. So little by little, they have been coming to accept it. Painting should be a propaganda to the psychology of every person that looks at a painting. It shouldn't be about who painted it. It shouldn't be about anything else other than a relationship between the painting and the viewer.